Hello and welcome to ADHD Mums. In this podcast, we tackle the tough, often unspoken realities of motherhood, neurodiversity, and mental health. You know, it honestly seemed harmless at the time. I'd said all of these soft maybes about catching up with people at Christmas. A couple of Christmases ago, I flew into Tassie for Christmas and we flew into Launceston and we decided to drive down the northeast coast into Hobart, which is where I grew up. And it was around about in Launceston that I started to get all of these text messages around catching up with people at Christmas. And I sent lots of soft maybes, let's just say. And they were polite, they were gentle, and they were fairly non-committal lines. Like, yeah, we'll just see how we go. Maybe, depends on the kids. I'll let you know. It's going to be pretty busy. I'll do my best. Things like that. And at the time, I thought, I'm just buying myself a little bit of wiggle room. I'm avoiding the discomfort. I'm kind of protecting everybody's feelings, including my own, if I'm honest, because I don't like letting people down. And truly, I felt like it was fine. However, when we got to Hobart, that was where everything shifted. We were staying with my brother, which is always a bit of a situation, just in the way of my family is messy and his family is very much not messy kind of way. And they never make a big deal of it, but I feel like it's a big deal. And his wife, who I genuinely adore, she is one of those effortless, clean people. Like she tidies as she goes. She wipes the bench before crumbs kind of land. And her house looks like it resets itself all the time. Like I don't know how it's that clean and I don't even see her cleaning that much. How does it happen? Meanwhile, we are messy without meaning to, and I feel like we travel around like a bit of a circus and we drop wrappers, socks, debris everywhere that we go. And I was still in the beginning fake tidying as if I do this every day. I was following the kids around, trying to pick everything up. And my boys, who are 6 and 7, were kind of throwing themselves down the stairs repeatedly, which really wasn't that much of a big deal for me because they do that stuff all the time. But in someone else's home who don't have children that physically fight like MMA fighters, it really did feel like it was getting a bit much. One of my boys actually punched the other one and knocked out one of his teeth, and then the tooth fell on the ground onto the carpet and blood went everywhere. Like that's the kind of shit that was going on. Within this time, my phone started to really go mental. I started to get all of these messages. And then it became what felt like overwhelming because all of the people that I had soft kind of said no to in Launceston, like, we'll see how it goes, all of them wanted to lock in dates at Christmas in the week. And they were kind of holding space in their calendar, which clearly meant that I hadn't told them no at all, even though I thought I'd softly declined. And they were treating the kind of polite avoidness as an almost yes, where I was treating it like a kind of no. And everything in me dropped because I felt so overwhelmed. And I realized that I had put myself in a really awful situation and I didn't have any time to sort it out. And I thought to myself, why did I not tell them no and put up a boundary in the beginning? Because now I'm in someone else's house, trying to keep my boys alive, pretending I'm domesticated and that I'm not quietly dying inside just wanting to go home because I was so exhausted from that trip. We were 2 weeks traveling before we even got to Hobart. And suddenly all of those avoided boundaries kind of came back expecting to have something locked in. And I could see really clearly that my soft no's weren't boundaries. They were actually like a soft yes. That's how they were interpreted. And I had stitched myself up without even realizing that that's what I'd done. If I look at what was going on, my body wasn't reacting to one message particularly or anything. It was reacting to the whole year's worth of holding everyone else's feelings and all of that cumulative load. And Christmas just tipped it over the edge. So when I flew into Launceston and my phone started dinging initially with people wanting to catch up, my brain didn't go, can I make this work? Let's be realistic. It went into, let's not disappoint anybody. Let's keep the peace. Don't want to be the problem because I don't come very often. Of course, I will make sure that I see everybody. But that's actually that fawn response, that people-pleasing survival mode that slipped out before I even thought about it. Add in ADHD, overwhelm, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, fear of being judged. Sensory, the noise, the travel, the pressure to be agreeable. And of course, then when I reflected on it, my fingers replied before my brain even thought about it. Yes, maybe, and all of the soft excuses that I thought, but actually were interpreted as yeses. And that's not because I was weak in the moment and I didn't know better. It's because my nervous system just honestly believed that disappointing somebody was more dangerous than abandoning myself in that situation. I thought, if I say no to these people, that is a really unsafe situation for me. And I went into people pleasing mode. So I said a soft yes or a polite decline, whatever I want to say it was, instead of a firm boundary, because I felt like being the difficult one and saying no and setting a boundary felt really unsafe for me. And this is that typical good girl conditioning that kind of has ADHD mums in these situations where we are overloaded, overcommitted, and we don't know where to start. If this is you too, you are not the problem. This is not an attitude adjustment or something that you need to learn better. This can be a nervous system automatic response. But we know, don't we, logically, that our needs matter, that our energy matters. And we know that we shouldn't abandon ourselves just to keep everyone else peaceful or happy. But inadvertently, our brain overrides us and tells us that that's the safest thing to do. But being aware of this in the moment is the first step for change. If you'd like to know more about this, please download my people pleasing episode, which is in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend. And if you're looking for permission this Christmas to say no to somebody, this is it. This is your permission slip to do it differently this year. Quick announcement. Did you know that we have an ADHD Mums shop filled with resources designed just for you? These resources are packed with answers to the most frequently asked questions I get sent in via email. Everything from understanding ADHD and autism to practical tips for daily life. There's also a free assessment tool. If you're wondering about ADHD or autism for yourself or your little one, don't forget to check out the free assessment tool under free resources section on my website, adhdmums.com.au.